families, honorees, honored guests, Commissioners Walker, Benedicto, and Clay. On behalf of the Mayor of San Francisco, London Breed, our Chief of Police, Bill Scott, and our Police Officer Association President, Tracy McCray, I would like to welcome you to our quarterly Officer of the Month ceremony. If we can give it up for our honorees today. I would like to thank Captain Aaron Pera of the Community Engagement Division and Martha Cohen of the Mayor's Office for organizing these events on a quarterly basis. I would also like to welcome the CEO of GAP, Mr. Richard Dixon, and I know we have a seat for you right up front next to Chief Sir. Welcome. Today is possible because many individuals and organizations and companies all throughout the city support San Francisco police officers. And so I always have the honor of reading the list. It's a lengthy list, but the list of everyone that both sponsors and supports our officers. And I'll start out by starting with BXP, Steve Colvin, Rod Dale, our retired Chief of Police Greg Sir, and retired Deputy Chief John Loftus. And really a big shout out for Greg Sir and John Loftus, who behind the scenes all throughout the months work to make sure that this is a perfect event. Thank you, Chief Sir. I know you communicate a lot with us to make sure it goes off without a hitch. Of course, the San Francisco Police Officers Association, the Hyatt Regency of San Francisco, the Hearst Corporation, the Kilroy Realty Group, McCall's Catering, Decker Electric, GCI Incorporated, HOK, Metro Service Group, Paganini Electric, Peacock Construction, Platinum, Ruben, Junius, and Rose LLP, the Bay Area Host Committee, JMA, Parks Hotel Group, the Hilton Hotel, and JP Morgan Chase. Those are all the sponsors, and then the supporters are BOMA, which is the Building Owner Management Association of San Francisco, the Hotel Council, the Union Square Alliance, the Neighbors for a Better San Francisco, and the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce. Each awardee today, thankfully, each one of them is going to receive $500 from the San Francisco Police Officers Association Community Fund and a one-night stay at the Hyatt Regency so that the POA and the sponsors can show their appreciation for the great work that you're about to hear. We are celebrating a lot this week. Our officers, last night, many of us were at the Medal of Valor ceremony where we got to see heroic work by our officers. And so that theme and that celebration continues today. Today, you're going to hear about officers catching armed and dangerous suspects, about interrupting and apprehending brazen burglars, and about conducting investigations. And so with that, it is my honor now to invite up to the podium our Mayor of San Francisco, London Breed. Thank you, Mayor Breed.
Thank you, Assistant Chief David Lazar, for being here today, as well as Chief Scott, Tracy McCray, and our former Chief, Greg Sir. We're so grateful to have all our leaders and everyone here to really celebrate the heroic work that our men and women of the San Francisco Police Department do every single day. Now, we have been through a lot in this city, and the fact is things are getting better. And when I say things are getting better and we talk about the reductions in crime, it's because the men and women of our San Francisco Police Department have the ability to focus on these important investigations, have the ability to use the kind of technology that we are using to finally help us deal with some of these real challenges, and we know it's not easy. The biggest difference now is having those tools, having the support, boosting morale, and doing everything we can as a city to demonstrate by our actions and what we're doing here today that we appreciate you, we support you, and we see the hard work that you do for the people of San Francisco to ensure the safety of all residents and visitors to this city. Now, although we appreciate the heroic efforts, when Ricky Pearsall was shot, those kinds of situations tend to get more attention. But what I want to do today is recognize that there are so many other issues that happen in the city and things that are prevented from happening in the first place because of people like the ones that we're honoring today. The investigative work that goes into breaking up some of these rings, the pursuit efforts to apprehend suspects even across the bay, the use of technology to creatively deal with some of the real quality of life issues. The list goes on and on. When these things happen, there's an expectation that our officers show up time and time again, and they do. And sometimes the things that you don't see are the things that they are preventing from happening. And so today, as we honor the men and women of this department by talking about these stories, recognizing these stories, and highlighting these stories that tend to be kind of buried below the surface, what we're doing is sending a message loud and clear that here in San Francisco, if you try and commit a crime of any proportion, that we will be there, that the men and women of this department will be there to serve and protect the public, to serve and protect property, to ensure the safety of our city, and we are so grateful for it. It means a lot to have you here to be honored. It means a lot to have your family and your friends to witness and see and hear the stories of the work that you do, because as much as today is an honor and a celebratory event, we also recognize the danger that comes with it. And so we appreciate your service, we appreciate your sacrifice, and we're so grateful to have you here today to recognize that work. And thank you to all the other folks who are joining us here from the San Francisco Police Department and the work that you all do every single day as well, our commissioners and others, for recognizing the hard work of our officers here in San Francisco. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Breed, for all of your support. I'd like to also acknowledge our command staff that's here today, and of course that our captains and acting captains that are going to present momentarily. All right, next I'd like to invite up to the podium our Chief of Police, Bill Scott.
Thank you, AC Lazar, and thank you, Mayor Breed. Just real briefly, I just want to, first of all, thank all the officers that are here to be honored today for their great work. But there's also a lot of other people to thank. And I'm going to, Will, if you don't mind me sharing one of our conversations, Officer Palladino, who's going to be honored today. One night, I think I was walking through the parking lot and I bumped into Will, and we had a conversation about spike strips. And I will never forget this, because he said, Chief, give us what we need to do our jobs. When are we going to get these spike strips back so we can use them? And we were in the process of doing that, but long story less long, we went to the commission and we got the policy changed and straightened out, and our officers had the ability to use those spike strips as they needed to use them. And it has been phenomenal of what they've been able to do with spike strips in terms of stopping people who otherwise would probably try to run in their vehicles as fast as they can, prevent pursuits, get people in custody. And I say that in the spirit of our officers have asked, just give us the tools that we need to do our jobs. And thanks to our mayor and our voters, we've been given some phenomenal tools: drones, cameras, flock cameras, and our officers have taken those tools and run with them. And that has resulted in some phenomenal work. So I know we're here to celebrate you, but I also want to celebrate and thank our mayor, our public who helped us get the tools that we need, our commission, and more importantly, you all, because you are using them and you are using them to the best of your abilities. And that is really why things are turning around. It's improving our morale, it's improving our efficiency, our effectiveness, you name it. But at the end of the day, it's the people that make this work, and you are the people that are getting the job done. So I want to thank you and all the families who support you to do what you do. So again, thank you, and now the captains will tell your amazing stories. So thank you, and thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Chief Scott. I would now like to invite up our Police Officers Association President, Tracy McCray.
That's all right. You only care about the checks I'm going to send to you anyway. But thank you, everyone, for coming, and especially thank you to family members. Last night at the Medal of Valor Awards, the videos that were shown, it was probably hard to see for a couple family members. We get shot at. Unfortunately, we get bombs thrown at us. We get people with knives who are trying to do bad things to us. But just like the mayor is wearing that orange, the San Francisco Giants, the comeback kids, we come back every day for more. I know Will does, put out a lot of great emails, but every single officer, we come back day after day after day to do this because we want to, because we love to. We know this is our job. This is what we signed up for. But keeping the city safe and its residents safe, it's the #1 priority. And yes, thank you, Mayor Breed, for those tools that you gave us, because a lot of people weren't looking at that for us, but you saw it and you got delivered a need that we needed so much. And I don't think we can't go back. I don't know what we would do without the drones, the flock cameras, the technology. I'm an old person, but these young bucks, as we say, they're gonna get it done. This is the new generation of policing. And the commitment from the leadership, from Chief Scott, AC Lazar. I see AC Walsh trying to hide back there, newly promoted Lieutenant Williams. The captain's up here, newly promoted Captain Jonas. This is the future of the department. So thank you very much for doing that for us. Retired Chief Sir, thank you for bringing this back, because it is the day-to-day things that we do, we never take recognition for, because it's our job. And we just go out and do our job. So thank you all for your support. Enjoy this moment. Families, enjoy it. You got the greatest family members in the world, and I know how much you love them and you want them to come home safe at the end of the day. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, President McCray. At this time, I would like to invite our first captain up, Captain Amy Hurwitz, Commanding Officer of Ingleside Station, along with her officers, to present the first award.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amy Hurwitz. I am the captain of Ingleside Station. For those of you who don't know where Ingleside is, it's kind of south, almost to Daly City, but not quite. The thing that is fabulous about Ingleside Station is I think we have the best cops in the city. We are forced to do more with less, and they all step up and they do it. So we get all kinds of nonsense. We get guns, dope, stolen cars, crazy people. We have all of it. And today I'm going to talk about an experience that may be unique to the Ingleside, and that is illegal gambling. Oh, Amy, who cares about illegal gambling? Well, you're going to care when I tell you what happens with illegal gambling in San Francisco. You can be living in your house in a nice residential neighborhood, maybe you're home having some popcorn, watching your Netflix, and all of a sudden you hear either shots fired, you hear a car crash, you hear a door being broken down on the house across the street. What do we think this is? Well, it may very well be an illegal gambling establishment. So these establishments are houses, closed businesses, whatever they are, where they have gambling machines. Now, I'm not encouraging anybody to go there because the people that we usually encounter aren't very nice. So I would say stick to Vegas. But what happens is I can put a pin on a map where that house is, draw a circle, and within that circle, I'm going to find people arrested for parole and probation violations, drug offenses, firearm offenses, robberies, burglaries, stolen cars, you name it. These houses bring problems to our neighborhood. And it's very difficult to find the time when we are so short-staffed to research these houses and to find results and to shut them down. Bing! A lot of times I'll say to my officers, hey, who wants to write a search warrant today? And they're all like, not me. So, because there's not a lot of time to do it. However, I asked Officer Mully, would you be interested in writing a search warrant? And yes, yeah, of course I want to write a search warrant. I want to do this. I want to help the community. And literally, I almost fell over. Number one, woohoo, women officer, brilliant, wants to help, and is fantastic. That's why she's here. She's great. She's the future of this department, and I am so thrilled to be honoring her for her investigation into closing this house down. Brilliant, brilliant, love you. So they located a house because there had been a home invasion, right? Door gets kicked down, firearms come out. Why is this happening in a residential neighborhood? The officers go in, they see the signs of gambling. Oh boy. Officer Mully authors a search warrant, the judge signs it. Then I talk to Sergeant Zamiga. Sergeant Zamiga says, I know all about this. He's former OPD. O being Oakland. Yes, I am on board. I want to do this. Sergeant Zamiga is now my lead person supervising all of these illegal gambling operations. And the two of them together are running point on this, and they are making a huge difference. The neighbors in this community where they located this first house are thrilled. Problem gone. And there's places to park. So listen, not for nothing, if you can get a parking space by your house, you win, right? That's it, you win. So I'm not gonna go on and on. I brought 100 pages that I was gonna read to everybody about how fabulous they are. I'm just kidding, I'm not going to do that to you. But I would really love for you to recognize them for the wonderful, outstanding human beings and officers that they are. So Officer Ashley Mully and Officer Jason Zamiga. I think we're doing pictures.
Congratulations. Thank you for your work. There's, that one's for you. All right.
Everybody in photo op. Chief, get in for the photo. Photo op. Okay.
Are we hugging?
You were hugging. I'm hugging you wherever you go. Congratulations. Come over here to the hug. Great job.
All right, thank you, Captain Hurwitz, and congratulations to the sergeant and officer. Next, I'm going to invite up, on behalf of Acting Captain Danny Manning from the Tenderloin, Lieutenant Jason Garden, who will present the award on behalf of Tenderloin Station. If we could have the officers come up as well.
Yes, sir. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Jason Garden. I have the privilege of to present the award to these two officers over here, Officer Matthew Agon and Officer Matthew Benias as well. Little backstory about myself. I am a former. I currently work at Tenderloin Station. That was my first permanent assignment as coming out of probation to Tenderloin Station. The thing I'm very happy about to see is that the work ethic of all these officers is outstanding. Every single officer there is extremely hardworking. When I first got to Tenderloin and I was assigned my current swing watch assignment, there's always a few officers that kind of stand out in my head as I see reports coming through, see talks from the rest of the crew, the sergeants, everybody coming out and kind of giving their own comments about specific officers. These two officers right here are actually two of the more shining stars that I've seen, that I've heard a lot about regarding this. I've always heard about how good of work they do. At the time when I first met them, they were on midnight, so I only saw them for about a half of a shift. Now, currently, they're on swing watch, so I see them all the time, and I really get to see for the full 10 hours of how awesome their work is. Just to say, Tenderloin, as everybody's seen a lot of media about Tenderloin recently. Yes, part of it is true, but also there are a lot of families in the Tenderloin, and all the officers do care about all the families that are in there, along with all the storekeepers and everybody else that does come visit the neighborhood. And even though it has its own reputation, these officers come out constantly still doing the work that needs to be done, regardless. It's a very, very tight-knit station. Everybody works very well together. Specifically, I'd like to talk about August 30th of 2024. These two officers were driving around of the South of Market area where they noticed a motorcycle that was at a red light. They noticed the motorcycle at this time did not have a rear plate, which is in violation of a California law. Once the light turned green, the motorcycle immediately drove up on top of a sidewalk and stopped. The officers contacted the driver of the motorcycle and asked him about the license plate. The person driving the motorcycle at this time could not really give a correct answer or any type of answer regarding the motorcycle at this time, or why there was no plate on it. So they exited the vehicle to have more of an in-depth conversation with them. Once the officers exited their car, the motorcycle then revved the engine. The rider put his feet up on the pegs, looking like that he was going to attempt to flee the officers. Quick thinking, knowing that vehicle pursuits are inherently dangerous throughout the city of San Francisco, specifically motorcycle pursuits, where the motorcycle may crash into pedestrians or other oncoming traffic, Officer Bonilla was then able to push the driver off the motorcycle, and where the driver had then got off the motorcycle at that time. The driver then proceeded to continue to run away from the officers. Both officers were in pursuit at foot on this time. While they were chasing him, the subject then reached into his jacket pocket, pulled an object out, and threw it over a fence into an empty parking lot. They continued pursuit of the rider. They got him into custody. Officer Bonilla then went back to where the subject had thrown the object and jumped over the fence and found that there was a loaded .40 caliber handgun in there, so with a multiple magazine and multiple rounds inside it. With these officers' due diligence, they were able to get a person who had stolen a motorcycle out of Oakland, California, and had taken an unregistered firearm off the streets at this time, which could have caused more harm in the public if it was not taken off the street. I would just like to commend these officers. Again, they're shining stars in my eyes. There have always been officers that have always been brought to my attention of all the awesome work they have done. So congratulations to Officer Agon and Officer Bonilla.
Okay, thank you very much, Lieutenant Garden, and congratulations to the Tenderloin officers. I would now like to call up Lieutenant Steve Jonas, who is soon to be Captain Steve Jonas upon your promotion in a couple weeks. Lieutenant Jonas, come on up. He runs our citywide plainclothes that does a tremendous amount of work. Not to steal your thunder, but I think the stats were 460 felony arrests year to date, led by you, 45 guns off the street, just to set the tone and set the pace on your leadership and what you do. And with that, you can recognize your officers.
Thank you, Chief. Good afternoon. So I want to introduce these two officers here to my left. On the left is Officer Caden Gervin and then Officer William Palladino, and I want to tell you a little bit about each of them. So Officer Caden Gervin has been with the SFPD for 7 years. He's currently assigned to the Mission Station Plainclothes team. So Caden and the other officers working plainclothes at Mission Station have to contend with a more varied set of crime problems than any other station. These exceptional officers have to shift seamlessly from late night human trafficking operations to early morning burglary abatement, and then be available to serve search warrants on armed gang members and finish the day chasing down auto burglary and robbery suspects. Officer Gervin possesses all these skills, along with being a quiet, humble guy and one of the fastest officers around in a foot chase. Don't try to run on him. Officer William Palladino has been with the SFPD for 16 years now, and he's currently assigned to the plainclothes team at Southern Station. Billy is famous around the SFPD for his constant emails alerting his fellow officers to wanted criminals that always sign off with his catchphrase, "Do work." Billy is a jack of all trades at Southern Station. He's constantly meeting with victims of crimes, collecting video evidence, and then matching that video up to his mental Rolodex of local miscreants. When he's not out collecting video evidence, he's working with his teammates to protect tourists and residents from car burglars, always ready to throw spike strips in front of a fleeing suspect vehicle to protect his fellow officers and city residents. He's the undisputed league leader in disabled suspect vehicles. So why we're here to talk about them tonight is on the night of September 17th, Officers Gervin and Palladino were part of a team of plainclothes officers deployed across the city to apprehend robbery and burglary suspects. Just before 10 p.m., there was a 911 call that a group of suspects had driven a truck through the front wall of a liquor store at 17th and Balboa. While some officers went to the scene and gathered video and photo evidence from witnesses, Officers Palladino and Gervin began searching for the suspects. Officer Palladino positioned himself along a likely route of flight, and once he had gotten some information from our real-time investigation center, who had gone through our flock cameras and identified a couple of possible suspect vehicles, he called out that he had the suspects in sight. With the rest of the team trailing behind, Officer Palladino followed the 4 suspects riding in 2 vehicles across the freeway, across the Bay Bridge, and into Oakland. Just then, Officer Gervin caught up and let Billy know on the radio that he was with him and had his back as they followed the suspects through Oakland. Once the rest of the team was in position and ready, Officer Palladino got in front of the suspects and deployed a tire deflation device. The truck was completely disabled and stopped just a couple blocks later. When the 2 suspects got out of the truck to see what was wrong with their tires, the team moved in. The driver tried to flee on foot down the street and around the corner, but Officer Gervin had wisely anticipated this move and put himself right in his path. Caden began chasing the suspect, who wisely gave up and lay on the ground when he realized that it was hopeless. The rest of the team followed the other suspect vehicle a short distance and guided Oakland PD officers in to make the last 2 arrests. Thanks to the brave actions and tactical abilities of Officers Gervin and Palladino, these burglars were stopped in their tracks. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your service and dedication, and congratulations.
Congratulations on your
Okay, thank you, Lieutenant Jonas. Thank you to the plainclothes officers, and congratulations to all the honorees and to your families. One last round of applause for everyone. Okay, so this concludes our ceremony, but the celebration continues. Thanks to our sponsors, we have refreshments for you, and we also have photographs set up for this event. If I may ask the mayor, Chief Scott, and POA President McRae, and the honorees to first leave this area for your photograph, and we'll get started with photos. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening, and thank you for your support of the San Francisco Police Department. Honorees, if you could follow the mayor, thank you.